calling back. We're going to try to give her a call again, and then she just added another phone number to the 13-year-old grandson who's possibly with the daughter. Step out with this.
2412.
Veteran crisis hotline's calling in, so they have a female veteran off her medication. She's at work to safe haven. Attacking 12, take the check that one out.
6-1 bullet, 2-1 try to take the shot.
Officer still stands for talk? No. Offender in custody? Thanks. Anyone else close, wait to see result, let me know. First number. 10-4. Officer still stands for talk? No. Offender in custody? Thanks. Anyone else close, wait to see result, let me know. 10-5, sir. 33.
3-3. Can you let our supervisor know that the police report was attached?
1830.
Yeah, possible Sharon and Wilson.
First number. 10-4. The owner of the vehicle
Oh, oh, baby angel. She's her own personality, that's for sure. Oh, and does she love her treats? Every time I say treat, that's when she's a pretty quiet cat, but when you mention treats, you know, you don't want to butter me up any other time, but when I say treats, you start talking and rubbing up against my legs over and over and over and over and over. Speaking of baby angel. Oh, gonna be interesting. So I'm gonna be digging it. First, I'm gonna read a couple articles. I did a video on one of them a little bit ago about how all the prisoners they pretty much figured out that he was coming. I mean, it wasn't no joke. We kind of knew until it was final. You know, nothing's final until it's final, but we knew that's probably where he was going. And so did the prisoners. And so they had been planning, even before he got there, they had been planning how they were going to harass him. And so the guards had no idea. Had no idea. They're using the vents, and what they're doing is they take shifts. So they have shifts where at all hours of the day there's somebody saying something. But it's crazy. It's like, how can you complain though? Right? If you committed those crimes and you have to hear those voices, I'm sure you probably already heard voices in your head already, right? So to complain about it. Also, there was an expert. Kevin Fixler had an article a couple days ago. There was an expert that was going to testify to prove through Brian's cell phone, was going to prove that he planned it. Not only that he planned it, he prepared for it. So we'll read through those quick articles. The first one about the prison stuff, it's super quick. That's why I'm going to go ahead and read it again in case you haven't had a chance to check out that video. But I'm going to read that one before we get into the show about how he knows that he was prepared and was going to testify that he prepared by using a cell phone. So then when you're thinking about the experts that the defense had and how they were saying that his cell phone didn't prove that he was stalking and all these other claims, and even saying that some of the prosecution wasn't practicing law like they were supposed to. Pretty wild accusations. So it's going to be kind of interesting to read that. Also, when it comes to this, and last Friday I had it all prepped up. I apologize. I wasn't able to get to it till tonight, but we're going to go through it with the video that the Idaho Statesman dropped, the full 112 security cam footage that shows the car going in and out and in and out and in and out. Now, it does kind of suck how whenever the car's coming in and out, there's like that blurry circle around it. I don't understand it because really, I mean, it's the only car that's coming in and out. It's not like we need to like, it's this car. I don't understand that. So maybe there's a reason that they did that. Maybe they didn't want to have, because they also sped it up too, even during key parts, especially before we heard Murphy barking. I was curious to see if there was any other sounds we could have heard because that stuff was pretty loud. And for the people that say it could be at a different building, I don't know. Ever since we found out about it very early on, and then obviously in the beginning of 2023, there was content creators that were putting out videos where they added stuff to it, and so it's like a lot of stuff, and so you could never trust it. But the one thing, because the prosecution did state that there was that video, so it was true that there was that video. It's just we didn't know exactly what audio it was. But since they released that, we got that part of the audio with that footage, and I always thought that her window had to have been open. I mean, for you to, there's no other action going on somewhere else. Now, could it have been next door? Of course. But I never saw a dog. And there's definitely a dog barking. So it makes me wonder, was her window open? And that's why you heard that part. Now, what's crazy is with those cameras, for that thing to be sitting there recording like that the whole time, I mean, thank God they had that, because I don't know. I don't know what kind of system has like a 10-20 minute recording from a cat going to take a whiz. I don't. So it's crazy. I mean, thank God they caught the whole thing. The only exit and access to that area. Thank God that they got it, because at least they had that video. So when it comes to that video, though, and I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna break it down. I went through some stuff before. With the pictures and how they're different vehicles, and how, yes, the one coming in has always been a Hyundai Elantra, when I look at it, and all the stuff that we broke down before. But back in March, when those two photos were released, the car coming in and the car leaving, it was completely different vehicles. And so I did all the comparisons back then. Now, we had just that little bit of sound when the Dateline episode came out. And so when the Dateline episode came out, and we had already kind of listened to different vehicles, right? And when that Dateline episode came out and you heard the car, they had that clip where it was driving away real quick. They didn't really have the sound too much of the car when it was coming in. But as it was leaving, that's when you heard, a lot of the sound. And so it was like, oh, wow, that's got to be a Dart. So then we started looking at the footage from when I was there. And sure enough, there's a Dodge Dart that's parked there. You go back to the Google images when they had it from 2020. I think it was July or August of 2023. or 2022, when we looked at it at the time. You could also see the Dodge Dart. Um, so there was that Dodge Dart there, but when you see this footage, I did different zooms and stuff too, and we'll be using some of them tonight because I want to show you guys there was no Dodge Dart there that night either. And so when that footage came out from Idaho Statesman and it played the sounds of the car coming in and it coming out, we got to hear at least all the sounds of the car. As soon as it came out and as soon as we were watching it, I was like, that's that right there. It says enough. You can hear all the times the car's coming in. The Hyundai's coming in a bazillion times. You can hear it come in, you can hear it leave. And the beautiful thing is you can still hear the other car. Two completely different sounds. So when it comes to the video, it's not going to be necessarily the picture because we already broke all that down before. What it is going to be now is the sound. Because we didn't have all of that sound before until the Idaho Statesman put that video out there. Now we can hear the car going all over the place, in and out, in and out, in and out. So I'm going to show you the different sounds. I'm also going to play you the different sounds between a Hyundai and a Dodge Dart. And then we'll end up listening to it. And then you'll see exactly what we've been thinking this whole time. And to me, I say it's proof because it's proof right there that the cars sound different. We saw in March the cars look different, but with this document video that came out, we know it sounds different. And to me, that's proof. And then also with the activity that was going on at 119 King Road, saw some running, some stuff, people moving around upstairs. Now, I'm going to show you guys that the Dodge Dart isn't there that night. And isn't it kind of interesting how somebody runs out of the house? Somebody runs out of the house when that goes on. Really makes you wonder, did they hop in to help get rid of stuff? Only 2 people. All right, so I'm going to read these articles real quick. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you. What's up, everybody? All right, so let me switch to this article real quick. And so far, it looks like StreamYard's been pretty good. So that's awesome. All right, so let me put this up here real quick, and I will turn on the comments. It says right here, inmates plan to make Idaho killer Brian Koberger's life hell in prison. They were waiting for him. And this was published earlier today. The inmates making quadruple murderer Brian Koberger's time in prison a living hell knew he was coming to the high-security Idaho lockup and planned how they could carry out a campaign of harassment against him, according to a report. Koberger was transferred from jail to the only high-security prison in the state after he received 4 life sentences last month for the gruesome slayings of the 4 University of Idaho students in 2022. And the prisoners at Idaho Maximum Security Institution in Kuna were aware he was coming. Now, this is from former homicide detective Chris McDonough. Now, I don't know where Chris McDonough is getting all of this information because as far as I knew, Brian Enton was the one that went and toured the prison, and I don't know how McDonough has contacts inside the prison to be able to tell him this information or have contacts from prisoners to be able to tell him this information. So it kind of makes me wonder, is he becoming another Howard Bloom? Where I'm going to tell you I know a bunch of shit, I'm going to act like I know a bunch of shit, and I'm going to say I know a bunch of shit, but is it really true? you know. The inmates were apparently waiting for him, and this is what McDonough says, who now works for the Cold Case Foundation. And when he got, this is a quote, and when he got there, they are now making his life absolutely miserable. They got together and said, okay, well, how do we harass this guy? The former cop said, now this is what I'm wondering. Where does he get this information? Where does he get this information? Apparently, they set this long up before he got there. The guards were unaware of it until it started happening. Koberger is being held in solitary confinement in a restrictive unit called J Block that has only 32 other prisoners who are the worst of the worst outside a death row, McDonough says. The unwelcoming neighbors decided to carry out a relentless taunting campaign against Koberger by taking turns yelling through the vents into his cell around the clock. They're utilizing the vent system, they're kicking the doors, they're taunting him, McDonough said, and they're basically, torturing him through, using psychology, and my goodness, he's complaining. The 30-year-old former criminology PhD student had been whining to the guards that he's been unable to sleep at night because of the crusade against him. Mandy, there's plenty of other shows that are covering it right now, and right now we're focused on these 4 beautiful souls that the world lost a couple years ago with the Idaho 4 case. So I know there's other people covering it, so I'm sure you'll be able to find that. Right now, we're focused on these beautiful souls right here. Thank you, though. He's extremely annoyed and frustrated, McDonough told the Daily Mail. McDonough said Koberger will likely eventually be placed in the general prison population, but in the meantime, he'll have to put up with the hazing. The inmates have come with a creative idea in harassing him to the point where it's basically driving him crazy, McDonough said. The ex-detective said since Koberger isn't at risk of being physically harmed by the prisoners, guards likely won't do much to curb the harassment. And so that's what I brought up in the video earlier that I made about this article right here, is that when it comes to whatever they're doing, the prison guards aren't going to put covers over the vents and give Koberger some earbuds free of charge. That's not what they're going to do. If things can be whispered through, it's a creative thing. Now, at the same time, if don't do the crime, and you won't be in the position to have that happen in the first place. And as much as somebody wants to complain, somebody that's going to prison for life, somebody that admitted this crime eagerly, as much as you want to complain about hearing stuff through the vent, what about the families who lost their loved one? I'm sure they would even love to be able to have the chance to hear their loved one through a vent. So when it comes to this complaining, number one, if it is true, because if it is true, it is what it is. Don't bitch that you got a blister because somebody told you the pan was hot. They told you. But I have to also wonder if Chris McDonough, okay, so a prison guard reached out and talked to you. Like, when it comes to McDonough, I found the glove, like Sean Connery, like you hear some of the stuff that the dude talks about, and it's outlandish stuff. It's I know so much, and I'm so close to the whatever investigation because I did some shit a long ass time ago. And that's the problem with mainstream media these days, is they'll have these people on and everybody thinks it's like, oh, they got real inside scoops, and it's not. It's like, no. It's like, no, it's not the inside scoop. Kid Kitty, I mean, people are, you know, what can you do? You know, there's souls out there that don't know what that means. You know what I'm saying? All right. So here's the next article I'm going to get into real quick. This is Brian Koberger prepared for quadruple Idaho murders. Expert was set to testify. He didn't just Google these cases. Before the DNA, before the arrest, before his name was ever made public, Brian Koberger was already preparing to kill. Two digital forensic experts tell Andrea Cavalier what they discovered by digging through his phone. Now it said the battery, whoops, these ads, 1 second. It says at 2:54 a.m. on November 13th, 2022, Brian Koberger's phone went dark. The battery hadn't died and it wasn't randomly powered off. It was silenced with precision. Wi-Fi and cellular data were disabled. No location tracking on. And no background activity. A deliberate blackout during the exact window prosecutors say 4 University of Idaho students were brutally murdered at their off-campus home. 2 hours later, at 4:48 a.m., the phone turned back on. It would be months before investigators fully understood what that gap in activity meant. But to the digital forensic experts tasked by prosecutors with retracing Koberger's steps for evidence to be used against him in trial, the silence spoke volumes. What we learned is he prepared. Heather Barnhart, Senior Director of Forensic Research at Celebrite, told The Independent. Barnhart and her colleague, Jared Barnhart, head of CX Strategy and Advocacy at Celebrite, also a digital forensic expert on the case, were slated to testify at Koberger's trial before he unexpectedly accepted a plea deal, admitting to the November 2022 quadruple murders and receiving life without parole in July. Koberger was sentenced to life in prison for the murders of Kaylee, Madison, Xana, Ethan on November 13th, 2022. Now it says digital silence, a red flag. Now, as more details began to trickle out through previously sealed police reports and court documents, the team is revealing to the Independent what they learned about the killer through his digital footprint. The Celebrite team had uncovered files scrubbed from devices, searches routed through VPNs, and deep downloads about serial killers, all of which they say painted a chilling picture of obsession and planning. So the Celebrite team had uncovered the files that were scrubbed from the devices through routed VPNs, deep downloads. Interesting. While DNA from the knife sheath ultimately tied Koberger to the crime scene, it was the voids in his otherwise trackable life that revealed how the killings were premeditated, the experts say. Forensic analysis revealed that Koberger's phone had only 4 periods of total inactivity dating back to June of 2022. One of those silent moments occurred on the night of the murders. He didn't just lose signal or run out of battery, Jared explained. This was an actual button press, power off on purpose, and then a power back on 2 hours later. And in the middle of that, 4 people were killed. As a criminology PhD student at Washington State University, Koberger had long been immersed in the study of crime, but according to the digital forensic team, his interest crossed a line from academic to obsessive. He didn't just Google these cases, Heather said. He downloaded full PDFs of case files, not once, but repeatedly. He was downloading detailed reports on serial killers, including Danny Rawling, who also murdered college students using a similar knife. And he also he would break. Hello. This is where I even thought about it when we were talking about the Scream screening in Moscow in October of 2022, just weeks before the crime took place. You read what he, not all the time, but most of the time, used a K-bar, most of the time broke in their house and waited for them, and then after they got home, then he would do what he did. That's why I was like, oh, well, the first noise was somebody playing with Murphy. Well, if he copied this dude, well, then he probably would have hid and waited until they got home and then played with Murphy when he was ready to go out and start committing the crime. Very interesting, though. Downloaded full PDFs, not once, but repeatedly. This wasn't casual browsing. This was meticulous research, she added. To determine exactly what happened during that 2-hour window on the night of the murders, the Celebrite team recreated the digital environment and studied the call logs. Turning off your phone isn't enough, Heather said. You have to disable Wi-Fi, disable cellular, then power down. And that's what he did. They discovered that in the days right before and right after the murders, Koberger disabled Wi-Fi access on his devices and routed his traffic through NordVPN, a tool designed to anonymize online activity. Isn't this interesting? What's up, Katie? Isn't this interesting? While the act is not criminal, it is abnormal, Jared noted. He was diligent in prep and cleanup, and he made our job really hard, Jared said. This is someone who tried really hard to not be detected. His phone had joined the Wi-Fi at the restaurant 2 of the victims worked at. But Koberger failed to do a full cleanup of his phone. Details of what the team found, including scrub files, private browsing, VPN activity, and obsessive downloads about other serial killers, were found hidden deep in his phone, not in a visible gallery or standard folder, but in buried file directories that required forensic tools to uncover. He had also downloaded reports on the Idaho murders and extensive searches of his victims. The team pointed out that despite law enforcement's hard work, there was a period of time from the time that the crime happened until identifying an arrest, the phone seizure, and then the phone extraction, so some of the best information was most likely wiped. But with time and attention, we were able to paint a picture of what he did on this night, Jared added. Even though some of the best stuff wasn't there, he certainly didn't cover all of his tracks. Koberger's digital footprint also included a passive log of Wi-Fi networks his phone sought out. On the night of the murders, before his phone was turned off, his phone was searching for Wi-Fi signal, and he wasn't at home, Jared said. And while motive and any connection between Koberger and the victims remains completely unknown. To the frustration of the victims' families, there is some digital evidence that showed Koberger may have encountered at least one of the victims previously at their workplace. Madison Mogan and Xander Kernodle worked at local restaurant The Mad Greek as servers before Koberger murdered them, and after the killings, a fellow employee said they remembered Koberger visiting it twice and eating vegan pizza. So one Wi-Fi log caught Heather's attention when she was searching his digital footprint. The network name for the Mad Greek, though nothing concrete tied him to the location at the time of the murders, the Wi-Fi log suggested he had been there before, possibly more than once. There it was, Heather confirmed. His device had passively logged that network. No smoking gun. Unlike the DNA on the knife sheath found at the scene, the digital evidence didn't deliver one big aha moment, the team said, and so did CJ when the plea agreement came out and he made that bet with Mr. Myers. Where's the aha moments? There ain't going to be any that absolutely create a smoking gun outside of that DNA, which we already knew about. Nothing else. Even this. It instead emerged slowly through fractured call logs, gaps in data, and strange behavioral shifts. There wasn't a single smoking gun, Jared said. But we found that the digital evidence told the story of preparation. DNA can tell you who did it, he added, but the digital evidence showed us intent, and that's what we were going to testify to. Heather emphasized that providing intent required building a baseline of normal digital behavior and then watching how it drastically changed leading up to the crime. If you can prove normal behavior and then go, whoa, this is completely abnormal, and that moment aligns with the crime, well, that's not an accident, and that's what the periods of silence showed. His relationship with his mother. Okay. I guess we'll read it. What's up, Yoli? What's up, Jeff? I thought it might be some Howard Bloom stuff, but I'll go ahead and read it because it does have to do with the cell phone. His relationship with his mother, while much of Koberger's activity pointed to calculated isolation, one relationship remained steady: his connection to his parents. Starting at 6:13 a.m. the morning after the murders, he's calling and texting his mom and dad nonstop. Heather said it was incessant, but it was also one of the only things he did that matched his normal behavior. Even in the weeks leading up to the killings, Koberger's digital communication showed few signs of friends or peer connections. Jared recalled seeing only other one contact, a classmate, briefly engaged in a group chat. All other correspondence was to who Koberger called mother, father, and sister. The moment we started to look at the messaging, it made me think of Bates Motel, Jared said. Referencing the horror movie Psycho, I mean, it was like mother and the label mother, the constant contact with his mom, it was wild. On December 29th, the day before his arrest, Koberger began calling and texting his parents obsessively, just as he had on the morning of the murders. If his mom didn't answer, he'd call his dad, they said. The same day, Koberger searched terms like paranoid, psychopath, and wiretapping. It was obviously weighing on him, Heather noted. The contact with his mother continued after his arrest, with inmates at Ada County Jail reporting that while he was locked up waiting to hear his fate, he spent hours on the phone with his mother. Described by other prisoners as a effing weirdo, inmates said he would wash his hands dozens of times each day and would spend 45 minutes to an hour in the shower. Koberger's mother and sister were present during the sentencing. At one point during the victim impact statements, his mother broke down in tears. The only time Koberger spoke at the hearing was to respectfully decline the opportunity to address the court or reveal why he committed the gruesome crimes. We didn't find the why, but we found the how. Despite their efforts, the forensic team never found a true why. We didn't find the why, Heather admitted. We wanted to for the families, and that was frustrating, but we found the how. And the how, they say, suggests it wasn't spontaneous. This wasn't someone who just snapped, Heather said. This was someone who planned. He didn't accidentally stumble into this house and commit this heinous crime. It was intentional. Now, it makes you wonder when, they talked about, being stalked and followed, and it makes you wonder, was he actually, from a distance, stalking and following? A lot of interesting stuff uncovered. Celebrate and CX. Let me repeat it here. Celebrate. Where did it go? I want to make sure I name, because I'm going to look these companies up here. Celebrate, and where's the other one? There it is. Celebrate and CX Strategy. CELLEBRITE and CX Strategy. That's pretty neat. I wanna see exactly what are the forensic tools that you use in order to dig up all of that information. But that is wild. Just he was able to do most of it. But he really did. He really did. I mean, when you look at the Scream, it's crazy. They had the screening just a few weeks before that. I bet he went to that. And then I'm wondering, did he go see it? Then after he saw it, he downloaded all of that stuff. That'd be interesting. When did he download that stuff? Was it after that screening of Scream in Moscow on October 12th? Because it's a lot of similarities. A lot of them. All right, let me switch to this video here. So I'm going to show these couple videos. So I'm going to show you let's get rid of this one. I'm going to show you some videos of a Hyundai. So we're going to switch to the car stuff. So let me throw this up here real quick. Excuse me. All right, so we're going to switch to this. Now, I'm going to play some sounds of the Hyundai so you can hear what the Hyundai sounds like. Then I'm going to play some sounds of the Dodge Dart so you can hear what that sounds like. And I'm going to play those for you before I play the actual video. So then when we play the actual video, then you'll hear exactly what I'm talking about and what your ears will be telling you. All right, so this is, I'll drop the links in chat for each one of these videos if you want to save them to your own playlist and go show some love to these channels. This is, these are a couple videos of what a Hyundai Elantra sounds like, and we'll play that for you first.
Hi, everybody. Well, this is a 2015 Hyundai Elantra, and we're going to do an engine startup sequence. We're going to watch the lights and listen to the sounds and see what it's like to start this car. So, here's the keys. Let's get started.
Now listen to what he says. Listen to what he says about how loud it is.
This thing is super quiet.
You see how quiet it is? Again, 2015 Hyundai Elantra engine startup. Okay, now I'll play it without the music. Here's the link to the video. I'll play it one more time without the music playing so you can hear. You can hear exactly how quiet it is.
Hi, everybody. Well, this is a 2015 Hyundai Elantra, and we're going to do an engine startup sequence. We're going to watch the lights and listen to the sounds and see what it's like to start this car. So, here's the keys. Let's get started. This thing is super quiet. Okay, well, if you have any questions.
Super quiet, right? All right, now I'm going to play the next video for you. Let's see, 1 second. I had to close out my playlist. All right, so this, I want, now you heard, that's the sound 2015 Hyundai Elantra, the engine. Now I want you to hear this engine.
What's going on today, guys? So today we're going to be doing an exhaust video on my 2013 Dodge Dart and
my 2014 Dodge Dart.
So it's going to be a little bit different.
Okay, now listen to this engine. Hear it? All right, so we'll go back to the Hyundai.
This thing is super quiet.
All right, now we're going to go back to the Dart.
Hey, just go like a little, like go to 60.
Can you hit 60 before that?
I had to play that one too. So you hear the difference of the engine, the muffler, okay? So now, when we watch this video, and we're going to see and hear. Now we already got the photos before, and I'm gonna break those down after we're done watching this video. But as we listen to this whole thing, listen to the sounds of the car as it's driving around, and then listen to the sound of the car, the one that's leaving. Now, I broke down all that stuff in March, so after you hear this part and you hear the different cars, what we just played, the 2015 Hyundai and a Dodge Dart, you're going to now hear the difference when it comes to this video right here. Okay. There's no beef to it. There's no meat to it. It's just like the Hyundai Elantra would be, like we played in the video. All the times the car comes up, same sound. That car that's leaving after the crime's committed, completely different sound. Now, I'm going to say that car ain't going that much faster as the car that's leaving, and listen to the sound. It's not going that much faster when it's turning as it's going by that white vehicle in the top right, that SUV. It's going the same speed. Right here, listen. Where's the beef? Where's the beef? There's a reason there's no beef. What's up, Busby? Because the car that was leaving was a Dodge Dart. That's why. You're going to hear more no beef again. Where's the beef? Where's the beef? You know why there's no beef? Because there was no beef in the video we just showed you of a Hyundai Elantra running. Now, the DoorDash driver's car has more beef than that. Okay, I'm going to skip the DoorDasher part. So far, where's the beef? It sounds more like somebody's snorkeling underwater than any kind of... like somebody's snorkeling. See, now that's what I want. When you hear the car that's leaving, listen to the whole time. You might hear a little bit of vroom right up front, but most of the time, where's the beef? No beef. No beef. Where's the beef right here? You're hitting the gas right there because you're going backward. Where's the beef right there? Where's the beef? Where? Underwater. Underwater. And I'm going to mute this part. We already broke that down. I don't want to hear it again. We already broke it down. All right, I'm going to skip ahead. Now you're going to hear the car leaving. I don't want to skip it too far ahead. All right, now listen to this car leaving. Completely different car. Vroom. Did you hear that right there? Right at the end. Vroom. Right? Vroom. And listen to this. There's a whole lot of beef right there. So we're going to listen to that Hyundai again. That's why there's no beef. Here's the Hyundai.
Here's the keys. Let's get started.
No beef. No beef. No beef.
This thing is super quiet.
Super quiet. What about this? Yeah. All right, so I'm going to show you guys some photos now. So when it comes to these two vehicles, let me go ahead and switch this up real quick. So I'm going to share this one first. So you got this photo right here. Okay, this was back in March. You got this photo right here. It's obviously a Hyundai Elantra. You got the squinty eye light. You got the, you know, the curves to it. And as you can tell, you can see that the headlights, because this is an incline, as you get further up this road, there's an incline that goes up. So let me show you that real quick. I'm happy StreamYard's actually like not bugging out anymore. It's beautiful. Oh my gosh, the first time in months. All right, so I'm gonna let's use this video instead. Let me share this video. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna skip up ahead here, and you're gonna see the incline, okay? Let's see here. We'll switch that. You're going to see the incline as you're coming up 11-12, right? Let me just skip ahead. Okay, we're going by there. Skip ahead a little bit. Is that too far? All right, here we go. So here's the car as it's turning the corner, right? So you got the car coming right here. It's turning the corner. Now see how we're going to stop it right here. You see how it's the incline is, it's not too sharp until it hits that house, the 11-12, and once it gets next to 11-12, then that incline really starts to climb, right? So when we go back to this picture right here, when we go back to this picture, and you're seeing it's got a little bit of an incline, but once you get next to the house, it goes way up. So the thing is when you're looking at these headlights, the headlights aren't even hitting the street, which if you're got an incline that you're coming into, well, then it would hit the street more often than it would if you were on a flat surface. And so when you see this, it doesn't even have any of that happening right there. So when we go to this car, this is the other one that was released in March. And you can see right here, this car, in fact, does illuminate the street. Also, you can tell it's got ground effect lights and regular headlights. Now, when it comes to this back window and this tail light, this is a reason why they thought that this is a reason why they first went with the 2019 to 2023 Nissan Sentra, is because this created a reflection that goes across. So when you have that camera and it's reflecting light to create light, that's where you get the continuous light source. You get the tail light. It blends in with the chrome strip that reflects the light back to the camera, and it looks like that continuous light, which is something a Hyundai doesn't do. There's a light here and there's a light here, and that license plate light isn't enough to blend the tail light and the light going all the way across. So when you look at this right here, you can notice there's like a circle type, oval, rectangle type area, and then you can see the light goes straight across, and on the bottom it comes up from this area and then goes over to the right. So if you're looking at this car, and you can see how it would have that continuous light source just like this does. It's got the oval rectangle that blends together, that goes all the way across. Again, that's why they were first looking for a Nissan Sentra, because of the chrome strip and how it can blend that light together. Now, when it comes to this, these lights right here blend together at a distance. This is where you get your rectangle oval looking. It comes up from the bottom and goes over. It goes straight across on the top. You can see right here. It's got that rectangle. It comes up from the bottom and then goes over. And then over here, it goes straight across. So again, you can see right here, oval rectangle, up and over, straight across. And then here you can see these two lined up. Now, I'm going to show you, you can see, I broke down the windows as well. Sorry, I'm looking for this. So right here, when it comes to the tail light, we already showed the tail light. When it comes to this back window, do you see how it's got the more triangle back window and not the squinty eye? This vehicle has a triangle window, not like the squinty eye. This back window does not match that back window. I'll get rid of this so you can see it without it. So you see this back window right here. You see that back window right there. It looks like that squinty eye. You come to this back window. It's got that triangle. You see what I'm saying? It's got the triangle. So when we go back to this picture and you see the Dodge Dart, you see the tail lights. You hear the engine difference. Then you go to the different back windows. That shows you the difference. And then also the lights. These lights, there is no ground fog lights on the bottom like there is this car. This car has those lights. The Hyundai Elantra, you have to get extra. There is no pavement being lit up and reflected by that car. This one, there is. All right, so I'm going to show you these photos now. Let's see here. Okay, I'm done with those, done with that. Give me 1 second. Oh, okay, I want to show this too. This is why the Elantra doesn't have that continuous light. There is no continuous light right there. Another picture of a Dodge Dart, Hyundai. Now this is a Dodge Dart at night. And then as you have that muffle, because of the quality or the lack of when it comes to the camera, that's where you get the blending that comes together. Now you can see if they would have had a picture of BK, these are from the street cameras in Pullman and Moscow. You could have easily got a really nice clear picture, especially when Brian Koberger was driving all over the city. This one is from Moscow right here. You could have got a really nice car because see, when it comes to Moscow and they want to, they put out their little notices, look, they'll give you something like this instead of the stock photo. Now I want to show you another picture. So as we were going through, after we did our shows back in March, and we were going through, that Dateline video came out shortly after that. It was like, yeah, that's a Dart, man. So then I started to look through my own footage. So as you can see, you got 1119 King Road, and you can also see the Dodge Dart that lives at 1119 King Road. Now, when it comes to this video, I'm going to pull up a Zoom, and I'm pretty sure I took screenshots. Hold on. I thought I had them in here. I might have saved them somewhere else. Here. Okay. So I'm going to share this photo, and you'll see, we're going to be doing the zooms, so you'll be able to see the zooms itself. But this photo right here shows you that that car was not home. That car was not home when the crime took place. So it's a Dodge Dart. Obviously, the car that's leaving. Dodge Dart. Dodge Dart lives at 1119 King Road. Guess what? Guess who has a great bird's eye view of what goes on at 1122 King Road, especially the balcony, especially the third floor deck, especially all the partying and activity that goes on at that house. They are on an, if you're at that top floor, you are on an elevated area where you'd be able to see right above all those other houses. You can see right above 1112. You can literally see everything that's going on at 1122. You can even see inside the sliding glass doors. If you had a binocular or a telescope or something, I'm sure you could have a great view. Especially if somebody had some binoculars, right? Now, that's what's crazy is this car was not there the night of the crime. So then when you're starting to think about, what was all that activity that was happening right here when somebody ran out right before? Kind of interesting, right? What was all that activity that was going on in all of these other rooms? A lot of people moving around, lights on the whole time, a lot of activity going on. So then when you go, okay, well, if this car wasn't here and the person that ran out of this door bolted at a really coincidental time when it comes to the Dodge Dart leaving, well, then one has to wonder. So I'm going to show you what we're going to do right now is we're going to get into some of these zooms that I have. Now I have the zooms positioned in all different areas of the 1112 King Road camera. I put together 13 edits. None of them are published. I put together 13 edits of different spots to focus on. So now that we broke down that it's a Dodge Dart, to me, it's proof that there's a Dodge Dart. Now I showed you the Dodge Dart connection. Now I showed you how the Dodge Dart wasn't there the night of the crime in that parking lot. Now we're going to look at the zooms and the focus of when somebody had all that activity going on over at that spot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with a zoom that was a little bit closer, but not crazy close. We're going to start off with the first zoom. Give me 1 second. Let me get that ready. And I'm going to mute it because I have the 32 boost sound just in case we need it, but I'm not going to be using sound at this particular time unless I need to, which I don't think I will be. All right, so let me pull this up here. We got it on mute. So what we're going to do is we're going to let this play. Now you're going to see this is a little bit closer. It's about 2/3 of the view. All right, so we're going to be focused up in the top left. All right, you got the car coming around. And I have different zooms of just the windows on 1119. I have zooms of the left of the house of 1119 to see if there's any activity going on over there. Also on the right, and then following out the road. And I apologize, it took me since Friday to do this. I had it all ready. I worked on all these videos just to try and get them done, and then I got slammed. So check this out. Now watch. Right there, you see somebody comes out. Okay, so right after the car leaves, right? I told you it was very coincidental. Very coincidental. All right, so the car leaves. This is the pass at 3:33. And as soon as the car passes, I'm bolting out of the house and I'm running down, and then I disappear. Okay? Ain't that weird? No, we're just going to continue to watch. Isn't it really weird when you see the Dodge Dart that lives there and lived there at the time of the crime, and you see it wasn't in the parking lot that night? It's very interesting. And then you see this stuff going on. Was it two people? And also, there's somebody that comes out right as he's leaving. This video right here is normal speed right here. And when the person ran out, it was 0.25. So they booked it. They booked it out of that house, because even at 0.25, they booked it. Even at 0.25, they booked it. It had to be confusing, you know. And then she parked right next to him, right? I parked right next to him. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Tell you whatever you want to hear to get leniency. I'm surprised they made it out without hitting something too, because it's a tight fit. You got all these people, so you got stuff going on in them windows upstairs too. Downstairs, second floor, third floor. She's probably freaking out too because it was taking so long to get it delivered. No, she's not. Did you guys see that? So right as it took that, now watch this. See the lights on the bottom? See how they're lit up? Now I'm coming around. This is before the 3-point turn. The first floor lights, now they shut off. Now watch. I'm going to do a 3-point turn. Do you see the curtains move at all? Because don't you think, right? You got headlights going forward. It tries to do some parallel park, but it's like, no, I can't do it. And then the headlights go right into that window. You see, it goes right into that window. Does it look like they're looking out? And we're going to zoom in and you'll see they didn't even look out the window. Now, don't you think if you just shut the lights off and all of a sudden you had lights come right shining in you're like, what the heck is going on? What is going on? You know what, Busby? I don't know if you can see it, but you'll be able to see it when we go through some of these zooms. It kind of that top window in 1119 King Road, the top right middle window. It makes me think of that mannequin that is standing in that window where Sebastian lives. You'll have to go to the beginning of it. The breaks. You'll have to go to the beginning of the video. We already covered that part and already broke it down. We actually, it's probably about, I don't know, 7 minutes ago, maybe. We just got done, so you'll want to go to the beginning and check it out. But it reminds me of that, Busby. You'll see it in the zooms when we get to the zooms. Yeah, if anybody's just joining, trust me, we went through the Dodge Dart part already, broke it down. I did another video. I'll have it in the description and in a pinned comment. Broke it down, but I pretty much just hammered the particular main points because really, I mean, I could show you a whole bunch of other stuff, but I already did that in another video back for March and then a couple months ago. So let me see. I'm going to go to a different Zoom here. Let's see. I want to go to, all right. So let's see here. Let me go to, let's see. Let me go to this one here. All right, so let's go to this one. So this is all those windows at the top. Actually, I want to get the one that has more of them in there in view. Let me see. There's that. Hold on. Let's see. Which one do I want to go with? Maybe this one. Let me try this one here. Okay. So we'll see here in about 30 some seconds, maybe 40 seconds, that person comes running out. And that's right after that car leaves. Right as it turns, all of a sudden, person runs out. So I'm going to go ahead and slow it down right here. And you'll see him just book it. And I'll show you the original. So that way, actually, I think I zoomed in on the parking lot to the left to show you guys that the 1119, the Dodge Dart at 1119 was not there that night on this footage. I'm pretty sure I did one of those too. All right, and then they leave and they just start booking it. All right, let me skip ahead so you can see that thing in the window. You see it? It's like people are watching through the window. So there's nothing there before. Let's see, we'll go back. Right there, nothing. Okay, so this is at normal speed. So there's nothing. You'll see that guy book it out real quick. Book it out. Then all of a sudden, bam. Now, there is movement. It's not something that's just sitting there. It's not something that's just sitting there. Now you can see a little bit of movement down here, but as you watch that, it's pretty much the same spot, but there are little subtle movements. And then as it goes through all the way to here, now watch, we'll get to the end. And it never moves. And then the car even drives back up there at the back top. All right, now let me show you the area of the parking lot so you guys can see. Let me see. I believe it's this one right here, maybe. Let me see here. No, that's not it. That's not the one I'm looking for. Let's see. Ah, here we go. So this is the video of the parking lot right there. So a zoomed in area of the parking lot. You can see There is no Dodge Dart that is parked there. You got a truck and a truck. A truck and a truck. The Dodge Dart is white. It would reflect very well at night, especially with this camera. So as you can see, let me rewind it. There is no Dodge Dart there. Now, I'm going to switch to this zoom because, let me see here. It's hard to see with the little thumbnails. Okay, let me go to this one right here, I believe. Yes. All right, so once it gets to this time right here, I'm going to go ahead and slow it down, and then you'll see that person run out again and book it. See right there? Now, this is a sped up part, okay? So here, let me back it up a little bit. Now, this is a sped up part. So I'm going to go to 0.25 to 0.25, and you'll see the person book it. Run, 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 run. Now, obviously, as it gets farther, it's going to get grainier and grainier. Now, isn't it crazy? Right after that person runs out, so we're going to go back to the beginning. You'll see the person run out, and right after that person runs out, poof, people appear upstairs just seconds later. So when you see the two different cars, the one coming in, the one driving around, compared to the one that leaves the scene of the crime, you see how they look different. They're two different vehicles. We already thought the Dodge Dart back then in March. Then as time went on with the Dateline episode, the audio that gets put out there, there's the guy bolting. Watch upstairs. Seconds later, dude bolts. Poof. Now you see all this activity going on. Somebody's running out as soon as somebody's leaving. The Dodge Dart that does exist at 11:19 and was supposed to exist that night at 11:19 does not exist and didn't exist that night when the crime took place. And then all of this activity going on, it just makes you wonder. But to me, that is why when the video got dropped from the Idaho Statesman and it showed all of that. Now I'm waiting for the unredacted because that's redacted too. But really, when it comes to the car, we got everything that we needed. Every time the car came in, you got to hear what it sounded like. And the car that left, you really got to hear what it sounded like, especially going around. That's why I say there's proof. Because now that that video came out and we got to hear that car circle and go around and go around and go around and go around, and it all sounded like it was somebody snorkeling underwater. And then you hear the car that's leaving, because it's like I said when those photos came out, it doesn't matter what car's driving up to it. The only thing that matters is the car that's bolting out of there. Because just because the car's driving around, circling around, this and that, could be a lost DoorDash or two. Do I think that's lost DoorDash? No. Because you're not leaving and coming back and leaving and coming back. But when the car don't look the same, sound the same as the one that's leaving, Well, then you need to focus on the one that's leaving, because they're the ones that probably had an association with what took place. Could that be why Koberger said, has anybody else been arrested? Alternate perpetrators. Don't you think one of these people was named as an alternate perpetrator? I bet you it was. Just saying. Thank you all for hanging out. I appreciate you very much. We'll be back tomorrow. I'll be hanging out at the EvilleCJ TV channel for a little bit, hanging back, having some fun. So if you want to come hang out over there, I'll drop the link for you guys in chat. Let me know what you think. If you're just joining, check out the beginning. We went through a couple articles, then we went through the suspect vehicle one, the real one, and then we dug into this connection of 1119, and plus all the weird stuff that was also going on that night, and the fact that that car did not exist on the footage that night. So was that the car? Not the car that's pulling in and all around, because you can hear it's two different sounds, but the car that's leaving. Be interesting to know. We'll see you guys on the next live. We'll be back tomorrow. Appreciate you. Please hit the like if you haven't yet. If you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. And I'll see you over there at the TV channel. Peaceful and positive evening. If I don't see you over there, we'll be back. Love you guys. Be safe.
Let me know.